accused of opening fire through a locked door, killing her neighbor. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Ginger Gadsden. First, let's give you a timeline of this case. A.J. Owens, a mom of four, was shot and killed on June 2nd of last year. Detectives say she was confronting Susan Lawrence, who had a dispute with one of her kids. Investigators say Lawrence fired a gun through her front door, killing Owens. But Lawrence wasn't arrested until 4 days later. Lawrence's manslaughter trial began on Monday in Marion County. News 6's Emily McLeod has been in the courtroom all day today.
Arguably one of the largest revelations to come out of court on Wednesday is the amount of time that passed between Susan Lorenz's first 911 call she made to the Marion County Sheriff's Office on the day of the shooting and the second 911 call where she says she shot Owens. Now, throughout these interviews that played in court today, detectives are trying to understand why Lorenz was in fear of her life, but detectives say they have a hard time understanding why Lorenz shot Owens through the door.
You're scared. Now you're saying that you're scared, which, okay, I can get to that. I can get to that point that you're scared there's someone knocking on your door.
No, it wasn't knocking, it was pounding.
Pounding. There's someone pounding on your door. Right. There's someone pounding on your door. They're pounding on your door, and I can't get to the point where pounding on the door leads to you being hurt or killed.
During day 3 of the Susan Lorenz manslaughter trial, the state brought in recorded interviews between detectives and Lorenz in the days after she shot and killed A.J. Owens. Lorenz says she was in fear for her life, but detectives were questioning Lorenz's intentions when she fired the gun.
Was your goal to shoot and kill her?
No.
What was your goal?
To shoot and hopefully, she'd hear the shot and dissipate.
Detectives also going over the timeline of events with Lorenz in those interviews, calling into question the amount of time that passed from the first 911 call made by Lorenz on June 2nd and the second 911 call where she says she shot Owens.
So the first time when you called 911 talking about the boys out there trespassing and things of that. So that call started at 8:54 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
At 8:59, deputies were on the way.
Okay.
Lady was banging on my door. I shot her through the door. That call came into our call center. It was received at 9:01, which is 2 minutes after you hung up with the communication center the first time.
It was also revealed that detectives left a pen and paper for Lorenz to write down any thoughts after her interviews.
I'm so sorry for your loss. I never meant to kill your mother. I was terrified your mom was going to kill me. I shot out of fear.
Now, the state did rest its case on Wednesday, which means we won't be hearing from Owens' children as we had originally anticipated. Now, we did reach out to a family representative to ask them if they thought this trial could go to the jury by tomorrow. They tell us they aren't sure. This whole trial has moved so quickly this week, but they would keep us posted. For now, reporting in Ocala, I'm Emily McLeod, getting Results News 6.
About 19 witnesses at this point. The state's attorney hasn't finished with his case yet. We want to make sure that, all the facts that are pertinent to, what Susan has done to this family is played out. And so I'd like to wait until after the state's attorney is finished with the case before I make any comments or judgment about that. But certainly.
In the interview with detectives, Susan was saying to the detectives that yes, she shot through the door, not knowing what was on the other side, and the detective brings up that I believe he could have been. What's that like for you, hearing that your grandchildren
Words can't describe how that feels, to know that she shot, and very well we all know she did kill my daughter. That in itself is hurtful. But also the fact that one of them could have been injured or killed as well is beyond any emotion or feeling that can truly be expressed to fully explain. Susan, she set out to cause harm. She succeeded. She set out to kill, and it's exactly what she did. And it could have been not just my daughter, it could have been my grandsons, and it could have been other members of the community.
In my opinion, this is a hate crime. There's no doubt about it. Now, Susan Lorenz, she's the Florida woman who fatally shot her neighbor, Ajike Owens, through a closed door in June 2023 was found guilty Friday of first-degree felony manslaughter with a firearm. Now, the verdict came just before 3 p.m. Judge Robert Hodges instructed Lorenz that she would be held in the Marion County Jail without bond until her sentencing. Lorenz appeared to shrug her shoulders before she left the courtroom with the correction officers. Yeah, just her attitude of shrugging her shoulders. She didn't really care. She has no remorse for what she did. I hope she gets that full 30 years when she's sentenced. Now, the family spoke out. Today, our family can sleep a little better knowing that Susan will no longer be a threat to our community, especially to my grandchildren. While this verdict does not bring my daughter AJ back, it does bring a sense of peace that we have long sought. I am very pleased with the jury and the prosecution with the guilty verdict. Now, the 6-person all-white panel was seated on Monday and began deliberating on Friday shortly after 12 p.m. After prosecutors and the defense presented their closing arguments in a case that gained national attention. Lorenz shot Owens, a black mother of 4, through a closed door in the presence of her 10-year-old son after she went to speak with Lorenz about a dispute over Owens' children playing near her home, according to a June 6, 2023 statement from the Marion County Sheriff's Office. So it just seems like those kids were disturbing her peace. That's what kids do, they play. You know, you have a neighbor. A lot of times neighbors don't get along because of their kids. But you gotta understand that they're kids. What, 10 years old? What are you gonna do, call the police? You only have a few options, move or deal with it. It's not that serious. Now you're facing 30 years in prison over something stupid like this. Now, Lorenz, who was white, was arrested on June 6 of 2023 and charged with first-degree felony manslaughter for fatally shooting Owens on June 2nd. Now, I remember this case when it took them about 3 or 4 days to even arrest this woman because she was claiming self-defense. And I think because of social media, you know, social media has a way of forcing the police department and the prosecutor's office to file charges a lot of times. This verdict is a critical step in securing justice for AJ and her family. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who is representing Owens' family. Man, Ben Crump, he is on all these cases. The civil rights attorney, Benjamin Crump, he is on so many cases. How does he have the time to even represent all these people? I know he has a whole firm behind him, but man, this guy is everywhere. While nothing can erase the pain they've endured, today's decision sends a clear message that senseless violence will be met with accountability. Now, during the testimony, it was explained, Miss Owens was banging on the door, telling the defendant to come out. State Attorney Rich Buxman said in his closing argument, believed that there were an immediate or imminent danger such that deadly force was necessary at the time was simply unreasonable because there was no imminent danger. Yet she's behind a closed door. Where was the danger at? Where was the danger at? You didn't have to open the door. Just call 911. It doesn't make any sense. Now, that word imminent is very important. It's included in the law for a reason. If Miss Owens would somehow have managed to bust through this locked, deadbolted metal door into her house and started coming at her, the defendant may have had a right to shoot because the danger would have then been imminent. Yeah, and also because of the stand your ground law. So that definitely would have been self-defense if she were to knock down the door, but that didn't happen. Now, the defense argued that Lorenz should be found not guilty because she was acting in self-defense because she feared for her life. Yeah. Of course, the defense would argue that. That's their job. The law says you should only convict someone if you're convinced they're guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. She had these prior run-ins with Ajike. I could see how she could be scared of her. Amanda Seymour, Lorenzo's attorney, said in her closing argument. And if you have reasonable doubt, you should find Ms. Lorenz not guilty because that is what the law says. According to witnesses, including the sheriff's deputies who responded to the shooting, law enforcement was already on their way to Lorenz's home when the shooting occurred, because she had called 911 to report 3 children, one Latino and 2 black, were trespassing on her property. See, this lady's racist, man. And that's, like I said, this is a hate crime. Now, during the trial, the locked door became a focus of the state's argument and the subject of cross-examination during the testimony of various witnesses. Now, this woman, Susan, told the detectives that she really thought she was going to break her door down. I really thought that I saw the door moving, and I really believed that. I heard Miss Owens say, "I'm going to kill you." I heard the door crack, then I fired. Yeah, this case is pretty much a case that, in my eyes, I think it's a hate crime. But the sentencing is gonna come in November, this coming November. So I hope she gets the maximum penalty for her inept actions. Because there's no way in hell that you could convince a jury that you felt your life was in danger behind a deadbolt lock and a closed door. Why didn't you record the altercation? You should have had your phone out recording it, because you have no evidence of what took place. It's just hearsay. AJ is not here to respond and defend herself. But that's my input on this story, and I'll talk to you guys later.